Okay, so we're going to talk about relationships and change. So I saw this comment yesterday that the perfect dialogue or the healthy dialogue is when both parties are willing to change. Okay, so let's cleanse the air. Let's cleanse the air you're in. Let's cleanse the room that I'm in as we get ready to talk about this controversial, triggering sort of topic here. Cleansing the room that you're in, cleansing the room that I'm in. I call in all available angels and all available archangels, Mother God, and my guides, that I have the utmost integrity in what I'm saying. And this, of course, is my opinion, but also I've done spiritual advising for decades and worked on psychic hotlines, and it's kind of a combination of what I have seen in others, and what I've studied and what I believe, and through the filter of my own life experience and possibly triggers and traumas and whatever. I'm not claiming to have all of my stuff resolved. Cleansing the room that you're in, cleansing the room that I'm in. All right, so let's bring this camera a little bit closer. You're really far away, and the camera's acting funny too. So, whoa, I feel like I'm going like in slow motion. Okay, so I think it's weird when people meet new people and want to change them. Okay, so when you're with someone for several years and you see something about them that you're like, well, I'd like to change this or that about you. I don't really like it. You get to know it. That's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about people who've known each other a couple weeks or a few months and start to notice things about that person that they want to change. So, and they're having a conversation about change. And so what does this mean? Okay. So, my feeling on this comment was that no, I don't want to change. I want to be my authentic true self, and I want the other person to be their authentic true self. I don't want us each to pretend that we're a different version of ourselves so that we can be together and then we're going to be miserable, right? I think it's ideal that people be who they are and they don't change. Now, one could say, well, you have to be willing to change things about yourself to have a relationship. Okay, well, maybe if there's toxic things about yourself, you become more self-aware, you become a better version of you. But if you're changing yourself because of what this new person thinks you need to change about you, I think that's toxic and I think that's trauma bonding. So when people meet up with each other and they're starting to think immediately about the things they'd like to change about the person, what is that? That's like, well, I think you're good looking and there's aspects about you I like, but I want to change pretty much this and that. There's so much they want to change about you before they even know the real you. And as I've done in the past, I mean, the people I've counseled, I would begin to change myself to be a better version of me for them. And so, maybe it's something they don't like what I wear. Maybe they don't like a certain jacket and I love it. I'll not wear that jacket as much. Maybe they don't like my weight. So then I'll, try to lose weight. Maybe they don't like something about, your hair, your makeup, what you're passionate about, what you're interested in. And you'll slowly change those things about you to be in that relationship. Whereas if you were honest in the beginning about who you are, you would be happier, right? When we're not honest in the beginning, years and years and sometimes decades pile up based on the lie of who you really are to that other person. And they believe that you're that way, and then later they believe that you have somehow changed. But really, you just, after a certain amount of time in, sometimes it's decades for people, they're like, fuck it, I'm going to be my true self. And so they're like, you changed, but really, they didn't really change so much as they were just being who they really are, and they're finally letting you see who they really are. People stay with each other for insecurities, for finances, for children, for lots of different reasons. They stay together so they maintain that personality that they like best. Like, I'll wear this makeup you like, I'll say this, I'll be this version of me so you like it better. So the idea of somebody in their first few months of a relationship saying that the best dialogue is one where we're both willing to change. I don't think you should be willing to change in the first few months. The first few months, if you're getting to know somebody for who you are, your job is to be your authentic self and not be critiquing someone else for what things about them they need to change. Your job, so like my job, is to be honest about who I am, to not be fake, to not be phony, to not be trying to please someone. So then they get a sense that I'm into things that I'm not, because I'm just kind of going with the flow of like, and so then they might view their idea of having a relationship with me based on maybe the kind of things I like to do, the places I like to go, what I'm wearing, what I'm saying, what I smell like, different things in the beginning that they find out about you that they're starting to like. If you're altering that to be pleasing to them, then you're putting yourself in these chains that you're going to have to live with for your entire relationship with them or not be together. So be willing to risk to be your true self. If someone wants you to change things about yourself, especially in the first few months, that's a serious red flag. So they're not getting to know you and going, oh, well, oh, that's about you. Well, I don't necessarily prefer, then they can be in their own mind. I don't prefer to be with somebody who has that moral belief or that medical belief or that spiritual belief. Like I really don't prefer to be with someone who has that belief. And then just be honest with yourself and be self-aware instead of trying to badger them and change them into believing everything differently based on you so that they'll change and be a more pleasing version of you so you're more comfortable to be with them. People like to say that a relationship is work, or we're working on our relationship. And sometimes that's understandable. I don't know, 2 years in, 5 years in, 10 years in, 15 years in. Maybe there's aspects about it that you want to work on. But if you want to work on your relationship within the first few months, that means you want the person you're with to be somebody else. Okay, if I'm like, okay, we go on a date and I'm really into you, I'm attracted to you physically, and we got a few things we connect on. So I'm like, I want to be with you. You're mine. I want to be with you. So let's work on it. Let's work on what? You being more pleasing to me, or me being more pleasing to you? Let's work on you being a different version of you so I like you better, so we fit together better. Or let's work on you changing me so we fit together better. That don't work for me. And so, again, when I counsel people, on the psychic hotline, or do spiritual advising, relationship advice, these are the kinds of things I tell them. And I also, realize that I have my own filter, of course. I see things through my filter, through my triggers and traumas. I've spent my whole life working on my triggers and traumas and being self-aware that they exist and looking at them to be the best version of me. And it is ongoing. And I have things come up again where I go, well, what is it that I really believe? So I understand if your relationship is just so beautiful within the first couple months and you're like, I really want to work on this because I want to make this work because I really like you. Okay, well, what is it you're trying to make work? So really be self-aware of this. Are you trying to make it work that they say things different, that they react different, that they like your tone of voice, that they like all these things about you that they're uncomfortable with? You want them to just be a different person and like them? Or is working on it that you see where we both willing to compromise so we can be together? to me, that's really gross. I don't want to compromise with someone in the first few months. Go, well, I'll compromise. I'll change this. I'll change it. For what? What's the reward? To get to hang out with you and not be myself? When I counsel people, and even, and like I said, my own stuff, they're so desperate to have someone in their life, they don't realize the peace of just being alone, living alone. And maybe, dating someone or having someone, maybe the same person that you go out for dinner with all the time, or you go have adventures, you go away for a weekend here or there, where you can then go back and be your true self. Because a lot of times in relationships, we're not, we do alter different things, and that's kind of fun for date night. And to be like, and cosplay and, being on your best behavior and in your best mood. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of exciting. But for regular life, to stifle yourself and not be your true self all day, every day, that's a fundamental change of who you are to be more pleasing to someone else. So if you say that the perfect dialogue, I think it said, was where both parties are willing to change. I'm not willing to change for you. I'm not willing to change so you like me better. I don't need you in my life. I'm not willing to change who I am, what I like, what I wear, what I eat, how I interpret the world, my morals, my spirituality, my beliefs. I'm not willing to change any of that. That's my truth and my authentic self, so that you will want me. And I find that very dysfunctional for anyone who thinks that. If you need to alter yourself to be loved, that's not love, that's abuse. And when someone says they're working on their relationship, to me, that's gross. A relationship's not work, okay? You have fun, laugh, play, have incredible spiritual conversations, intellectual conversations, enjoy each other. You don't just tolerate each other because, so you can say you have a relationship, okay? So you have, what do you have together? Do you just have kids? Do you have no kids? Do you have just someone to have sex with sometimes, like a sure deal? Or like, what's the payoff to you to give up the passionate connection with somebody, or even yourself? You can get it through movies, through books, through the internet, connecting with all sorts of people. You can have all that. Or you could have it now and then with someone that you live with, that you're stifling yourself and walking on eggshells and working on it. And to me, when someone says they're working on their relationship, it's a huge red flag. It means that they shouldn't be together. And of course, people will push back because they're like, all relationships are give and take and all relationships are work. Well, no, I don't want that. I have to, it's not true. In a natural high vibration relationship, you'll give, all the time. You'll love it. You'll do ass pats. You'll check in on them when they're sick. You'll cook for them. You'll get them things. You will naturally give and take, and that is beautiful. But you won't have to work on doing it. It'll be natural flowing, and it will feel so good and loving and wonderful, the things you're doing for your partner and your partner's doing for you. It won't feel like, oh, I got to do this, and my husband wants me home, or my wife wants me to do this, or I can't have this in the living room or that in the living room because they'll get weird, and I got to behave this way and that way, so because, we're working on it. Really, that's you sabotaging yourself. That's you abusing yourself. That's you so desperate for attention and affection that you're willing to literally put yourself on the cross and sacrifice yourself and abuse yourself so this person will love you. It's not love. If you have to change anything about you to be with someone else, then don't be with that person. And you can go, well, relationships at work, it's give and take. I should, it's okay. I got to give up this bad habit and I got to give up that bad habit. Why is it a bad habit? Because they say it's bad? Your higher self communicates to you through your passion, through what you're excited about. If you're dumbing yourself down and you're not doing what you're excited and you're not dressing the way you want and you're not doing what you want, reading what you want, going where you want because you want to please this person because you're working on it, you're not you. You're abusing yourself and the other person is abusing you. And if you want someone to change all these things about themselves to be with you, why don't you just be by yourself or be with someone else? And especially in the first few months, if you're like, these are the things I want to talk about that you need to change. You need to change your tone with me. You need to change how you talk to me. You need to change the type of clothes you wear. You need to change what you're excited about, because I'm just not really into it and I'm into you. And I've had this happen, and it happens right away. It's like, I will myself too be like, well, yeah, sure, I'm interested in doing that sometimes. And then the person might get excited about meeting somebody that's interested in doing this or this or this, but I'm really not. And if I was wanting to do it, I would do it like once a year or something. But if you're passionate about doing something all the time, whatever it is your passion is about, you want to do that. But if you really, really like this person and you have chemistry with them and you have really great conversations and you love chatting with them online and you love meeting up with them now and then, keep them in your life for that. And do your passion most of the other time and connect with them when you can in a way that's authentically truthfully you. And yes, this is a repeat message here, but relationships don't have to be worked on. If you are yourself and you're having fun and enjoying the person and they're doing the same, it's a natural flow. If you need to work on it, then you don't really want to be with each other. You're just forcing it. Or you're thinking, well, there's no one else out there that wants to be with me or that I want to be with, so I'll just, change this person. And then the one who's more dominant ends up changing the other person. The other person changes for them. In my long-term relationships, because the women were older, I ended up changing. And I've caught myself doing it now when I have a potential relationships where I will alter some things about me to not be my authentic self. Maybe you do a certain thing when you're entertaining somebody and different ideas come up or you're brainstorming and you kind of slowly become a different version of yourself, and you're listening to yourself go, yeah, I'd like that, or I'd be into that, or or moving through when it feels awkward, or eating something you don't want to eat, or just these little things later become your entire life. And when you are sick of them and you start to be your real self, then they're like, well, we got to work on it some more. And if you're working on it, you're working on being mediocre. So instead of being the one person being their self and doing the things they love, and you join them and go and experience the things they love, whether it's the certain food they like, the places they like, whatever, you get to know them and join them with what they love. That's so cool. And then they do that with you. But you don't get in the middle and work on it to where you can compromise and just neither one of you are, if one of you likes to go out and be a social butterfly and the other one's like, I just don't want to do that. So then the social butterfly gets their light dimmed because they just stay home and settle. And they got monogamy and their person's really jealous and they got to work on it. Where what would be healthier to be like, you know what? I love to go out and social butterfly with you, once every few months or something, and that would be great. And if you want to do that all the time, go do that. And to not let, because I believe that's sick in a relationship too. Well, I let him. And this woman was a psychic. I'm like, well, what do you love best about your new husband? She goes, he lets me be myself. I was like, oh my God. Anyway, so I didn't mean the word let. I meant don't be jealous. Don't be controlling. Don't be gaslighting. Just if the person says, I really enjoy going out a lot, then they do. And don't try to control them or change them or work on it and make them want to be home with you more because you enjoy, if I enjoy, just being at home and watching, Netflix or doing my writing or doing my projects, or, if I enjoy that most of the time, and someone else doesn't enjoy it, don't pressure them, because if you're older or if you're more dominant or whatever, pressure them that they're going to manipulate them. They're going to lose you. They're going to lose your love and your friendship and the wonderful connection that you have spiritually, sexually, emotionally. They're going to lose that if they're true to themselves. That's abusive. That you can have all of these things in your life by being honest and being your authentic self. And so that's just a few tidbits on that. And I don't want to, nor will I change who I am to be loved by someone else. I won't change who I am for, I've spent my whole life at this, so you guys got to do what you got to do. But I'm not going to change what I like or my core things about myself or pretend I'm somebody I'm not, so you'll like me, so you'll approve of me, so you'll be there in case I need somebody, or so that you'll love me, or so that you'll touch me, or so that you'll be interested in me. I don't need any of that. I find it gross. I find it really weird and dysfunctional and abusive when people do that. So if you meet someone and you want to change them within the first few months, be with someone else, because that is seriously toxic. Okay? In the first few months, you're getting to know who they are. So get to know who they are. Date them. Have them over. Visit about things. Get to know them. FaceTime. Get to know their body mannerisms. Have things come up. Get to know each other and decide if you already know you like each other, so be respectful to each other, be kind to each other. Like, we like each other, this is cool. But are we compatible as lovers? Are we compatible as friends? Do we have a difference in moral beliefs or spiritual, sexual, financial, whatever? Do we have these big obstacles that we just really can't hang out a lot? But do it respectfully and authentically, right? A lot of times people go into new connections just surface things, or they'll be attracted, or they'll talk about things in a way of what they wish it would be. They'll talk about themselves in a way of who they used to be. And, getting to know someone for who they are right now, and being your true self, who you are right now with that person, is beautiful. And that's kind of what the ultimate strive for is. And in that, yeah, maybe we don't meet people. Maybe we don't ever even really end up in relationships again. But we're not miserable all the time. We're not dying inside. We're not, being gaslighted by someone all the time, or gaslighting ourselves, or being triggered in trauma and walking on eggshells. We're not living that life where we just are dead inside and not passionate about anything. It's better to be alone and be passionate, or, meeting someone that you can be with like once a month and have that incredible connection where you're not drowning each other every day to try to push them to be somebody that they're not. Anyway, there's just some thoughts on change. So I love you and blessings to you. And I ask that Spirit heal that lineage in me all the way back to my core wound and your core wound, and dissolve all the triggers and all the traumas, and raise your vibration, raise the vibration of Mother Earth and her people. I ask a blessing, Spirit, that everyone within the sound of my voice and my vibration and myself can heal that line and dissolve those patterns and traumas of wanting to be someone else's version of ourselves, to remove all of the expectations of other people, and that I be given a blessing to be able to be strong enough to be my authentic self. And I ask that for everyone who's listening or can even feel the vibration, that people be freed from the shackles of their handler, of someone else wanting them to change or having to work on their relationship, instead of allowing themselves to be who they really are. Okay, well, love and blessings to you all. Bye for now.